Welcome back to the Beach House Grill. We're here in Old Town Fort Collins. The Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show continuing. Kevin McClue sitting in for the voice of the Rams, Brian Roth, as we continue our conversation with Rams head football coach Steve Fairchild. And one thing that you're going to have, Coach, when you come in Saturday is an even healthier Michael Sisson on the field there. And he's one of those guys that seems to lick his chops when he gets a chance at Air Force, seems to love that assignment-based football. And when you get a chance to line somebody up, you know he's going to lower the boom. He seems to be a guy that jumps at that, and it's so great to have him healthy back in the lineup.
It really is. It was, obviously good for our football team, good for our defense. But I think most importantly, it was good for Mike to get back. And, he put in all that hard work in the offseason, and then to play a game and a quarter and end up thinking your season's over with at that point can be very disappointing. And he's probably not 100%, but he was back out there against TCU, and you can see right away what he brings to the table. I mean, he was making plays left and right, and very, very athletic. And now that you mentioned going against Air Force, that helps too, because he can play in space and move around. And he'll help our defense this Saturday, there's no question.
Well, looking at the Falcons, you have a couple of very impressive players. You start with Tim Jefferson, and you guys have your answer as far as simulating the looks you get from Tim Jefferson. He even wears number 7 out there.
Yeah, we've got Donnell Alexander, who's a redshirt freshman running back that I think is going to have a chance to be a real good player for us, is playing the Air Force quarterback this week. And, he has that size and quickness and ability to move around like that. So he's been giving our defense a good look. But Tim's very impressive. There's no question. He's, he can run it, he can throw it. He's very, very experienced. And typically when they have a quarterback like that they can do both, like I said, they're hard to stop. And it all starts with him. I mean, we're going to have to bottle him up and put a helmet on him as best we can. Just
about 1,300 yards passing and 9 touchdowns for Tim Jefferson. Begs the question. It used to be you line up against Air Force, you're just worried about stopping the wishbone attack and the triple option. Troy Calhoun likes to open things up a little more often and throw the football. How do you try to get ready and you can get so focused on trying to shut down the option that you don't want to fall asleep at the wheel with that passing attack that's pretty darn good?
That's what we've been hurt in the past. And they stress your secondary out a little bit because you need that help in the run game. And if you're a safety back there, and you got to be sharp reading your keys, because we need you up in there making a play on the run, but we also can't let receivers get in behind you. So. But another thing Troy's done is he's brought the running back, halfback position into play a little more than they used to. It used to be stop the fullback and then the quarterback. He was the one that did all the damage and just rally to the pitch. But they're getting their halfbacks involved in different ways, not just as a pitch back. And the design of the offense really has Troy's stamp all over it. And it's like I said, it's brought that running back position into play as well.
What are some of the things that you feel can win football games against the Air Force Academy when you go back in the years, and even as you scout them this season, some of the areas they may be a little bit susceptible that you can hopefully take advantage of?
Well, I don't know if they're weak in any area, but the formula is very, very clear on how you beat them. I mean, last year we ran for 300 yards on them, and you've got to run the football on them. A lot of that was a little bit too late in that ball game, but you'd like to, stay in the game from a score standpoint so you can run. I mean, if we can be in a game that allows us to run the football and play physical on offense, then that's going to limit the amount our defense has to play, and I think we're very capable of doing that. Their side of the ball, obviously we cannot give up the big pass plays that we've given up in the last few years. I mean, they're going to make some yards running the football. There's no question about that, but you try to minimize the big plays, particularly when they throw it. They're a team that has turned the football over. There's no question that if we're going to win this football game, we're going to have to get the ball out, defensively. And then same thing offensively. I saw their stat. Last 4 games, they've forced 14 turnovers. So, at the end of the day, I don't think there's any doubt when you look at the turnover battle, that'll have a lot to say with who wins this football game.
Well, it should be wildly entertaining, as most of these absolutely are, year in and year out. We'll talk more with the head coach later in the program, as coming up next, we'll sit down with Rams junior defensive end C.J. James will join us up here on stage as the Coors Lights Steve Fairchild Coaches Show rolls on from the Beach House Grill here at Fort Collins. From Delegate Sports, you're listening to the Colorado State Sports Network. Back once more on the Coors Lights Steve Fairchild Coaches Show, live from the Beach House Grill here in Fort Collins. Kevin McClue with you as I want to remind you, FrontierAirlines.com, the place to go for the best values in the air. Whether you want to follow the Rams or you just want to get out of town, Frontier has you covered with over 80 destinations across the U.S., Mexico, and Costa Rica. Plan and book your next trip at FrontierAirlines.com. And right now, we are joined by the fine defensive end, the junior out of Orlando, Florida. It is C.J. James joining us up here on stage right now. And CJ, one thing that has been apparent, it seems like it gets more and more apparent every week. This defense, you guys seem to play pretty hungry out there, and you guys have been getting to the quarterback. You have 5 sacks on the season to go along with 34 tackles. What have you seen develop and progress with this defense? As you've done a great job, you shut down the running attack from San Diego State, where you have one of the best duos in college football, and you shut them both down. Then you've been getting to the quarterback on a regular basis. What have you seen this year?
I mean, I just seen that the defense. I mean, as the season goes along, you know, we gonna gel even better, you know, and you know, just as far as like the leadership, you know, we have guys in there, like we have assistant back, you know, who can come in and help the other backers, and you know, and keep the D line, you know, going like we need to be going, you know, and it's all a big help, you know, and everybody just trying to just have a real good effort. We just trying to put a win together.
Yeah, you talk about Mike Sisson, and again, that's one of those things that can provide that sort of boost. And what is it that he brings to the table, whether it's on the field, helping to quarterback that defense, or if it's in the locker room, and even when he was injured, still traveling with the team, what does he bring to this defense for you?
I mean, first he brings leadership, you know, and then he brings his experience. You know, experience is a detrimental thing at this level of football, you know, because I mean, guys are. I mean, on every given down, you know, guys are faced with different I mean, plays and different schemes, you know. So when you got a guy behind you who can tell you, all right, hey, he's gonna be outside next play. So I mean, and just own you about you handling your responsibility on that field and being accountable. You know, it's a lot easier when you have someone pressing on you and demanding that you, I mean, the best out of you. Because when I look at that guy, I know that he's going to bring his best to the table, so I got to bring mine.
Well, one thing I think is truly impressive about this group of student athletes is that you guys, whether it's after a loss, and I know you talked about trying to put together a win, nobody's hanging their head, nobody's moping around with the bottom lip hanging out because they feel sorry for themselves. You guys just come out, reload, go to practice, and try to find a way to win the next week.
Right. I mean, coach tells us to have a short memory, you know, because we can't beat ourselves up about, I mean, our performance or anything like that on Saturday. You know, it's all about wins and losses, but I mean, it's really about, I mean, just playing as a team and just, I mean, going out there and giving it a y'all. You know, all of us, we know that nothing's gonna be given to us. So I mean, we out there working for every win we getting. I mean, every snap we working to win. So I mean, we can't be disappointed with our effort. That's one thing that I can say after the game, that when I look in every guy's face on that defense, you know, and on our team, you know, I know that everybody gave their all. So you can't complain when you're giving your all.
Yep. Continuing our conversation with Rams defensive end C.J. James, and right now the preparation's focused on Air Force, and you guys have a chance to go out and not only win a rivalry game, but you have a chance to pick up a piece of hardware in the Ram Falcon Trophy, which I know means a lot to everyone in that locker room. You also have a chance to potentially spoil Air Force's bowl eligibility hopes. Plenty of motivation, I would imagine, coming up on Saturday.
I mean, definitely a lot of motivation, you know, because I mean, you see what we're sitting at this year. You know, we would love to knock a team off their horse right now because, you know, we need a win. You know, plain and simple. You know, so we're gonna go out and give it our all and come out with a W. I mean, that's what we really. I mean, that's what ultimately it's all about. You know, just coming out. I mean, just putting the best defensive performance we can put out there on the field and worry about the score later.
When it comes to Air Force, what is it like being down there in the trenches, having to go up against that sort of a look that's so unique from everything else you see?
I mean, it's definitely unique because, you know, you just have to play with your head on the swivel and watch for cut blocks and stuff like that. You know, it tends to slow the defense down when you have to deal with that. But I mean, we're just going to keep attacking. You know, we're not gonna stray away from how aggressive we are on defense. We're just going to get after it.
Yep. CJ, fantastic season here so far. 34 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 5 sacks on the season. A great year for yourself, and hopefully you can find 2 nice trophies to show for the season coming up in the next 2 weeks. Best of luck to you.
All right, thank you.
All right, that is CJ James joining us up here on stage. When we come back, we'll talk with Rams defensive tackle Nuku Latu. All that and much, much more. It's the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show rolling on from the Beach House Grill here in Old Town Fort Collins. From Nelligan Sports, you're listening to the Colorado State Sports Network. Welcome back inside the Beach House Grill here in Old Town Fort Collins. A beautiful Tuesday night for the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. Kevin McClue in for Brian Roth. And right now, help me welcome to the stage, it's Rams senior defensive tackle Nuku Latu. Joins me up here on stage. I wanted to ask you about one thing, and you hate to jump off on not the most positive note, but I think maybe it does speak so tremendously well of you. You go your entire collegiate career without missing a football game, and then the injury bug bites you there and you miss 2 games. How tough was that for you, and what were your thoughts? I'm imagining you're thinking, boy, if you can just do anything to the trainers to get me ready to go, you would have done it.
Of course, yeah. I tried hard as hard as we can. Terry DeZayu, the head trainer, he did a great job of preparing us to get in there, for me to get in there as soon as I can. But as far as the locker room, game time, and me missing games, it was very hard because it was my first game missing since high school.
What are your thoughts now? Again, you're a senior and you've had a chance to watch defenses progress over the course of seasons, but it really seems like this season, this defense has risen to the occasion on a lot of notes and in a lot of instances. What have you seen that's special about this year's defense?
Everyone is, as far as the defensive line and the whole group, period, we're more of attack defense now. We're swarming to the ball. Everyone bought into the ideology of swarming to the ball.
Does that make playing defense a little bit more fun when you roll the dice a little more often? I know you're at a defensive tackle spot. Maybe you're not lining up as a linebacker or a safety on a safety blitz, but I would imagine it makes it a little more fun when it's sort of a seek and destroy type of effort out there.
Definitely. We play off of the linebackers, and the linebackers play off the safeties and secondary. So.
Well, one thing, when you are a senior, that means you've seen Air Force quite a bit. And we were talking to C.J. James. I want to get your thoughts. What is it that's different when you spend this week preparing for Air Force as opposed to any other week of preparation?
It's like C.J. said, as he said earlier, it's really unique to prepare for this team because it's not a team that we see on a day-to-day basis. And it's just really unique in practice.
Is it a grind, though, when you see the fullback dive so often, then the halfback dive, then the quarterback will roll out on the option? Does it kind of grind defenses down? Obviously, that's what it's intended to do, but do you feel that come third, fourth quarter, you kind of get beaten down a little bit mentally if you're going up against a team that likes to do that?
It gets frustrating at times because, obviously they dive. We just got to stay positive and keep going along.
What do you try to do now as a senior as you go into these last 2 games? And the bowl game's not there, but what is there is the Bronze Boot and the Ram Falcon Trophy and plenty of motivation trying to play spoiler coming up Saturday against Air Force. What do you do as a senior to try to instill that on everybody else, particularly some of the younger players?
Basically, for the seniors, we're just trying to, improve for next year's team. We're always there for trying to leadership, try to lead them into the proper way.
Getting Mike Sisson back, what in your mind has that done for this defense? And what has it done for him even when he was injured in that second game of the year, but still being a big part of this defense throughout?
He's always been there in a positive manner. He's always just sort of like influenced us to work hard, not to give up, and sort of instilling us with his thoughts and worth ethic.
You are going to get a day off coming up this week. You get Thanksgiving. What are Nuku Latu's plans for Thursday there on Thanksgiving?
Just spending time with my girlfriend's family. Since I can't be there with my family, also spending time with the football team.
Yeah, and I know a lot of guys do that. They, if you're from out of state, you find a guy from Colorado you're buddies with, and then you go down to his family's house.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, again, continued success here is it's great to see you back on the field. I know it was tough for you, and it's tough for everybody to have you miss a couple of games with a streak that you put together. But great to see you back out there, and I know Ram fans, especially for a senior, would love to see you get these 2 trophies to close out this year. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that is Nuku Latu, senior defensive tackle for the CSU Rams. Bank of Colorado, proud sponsor of CSU Rams football. Bank of Colorado, the way banking should be. Head coach Steve Fairchild rejoins us up here on stage when we return, as we will start to close things down and continue to look forward to Saturday's matchup against the Air Force Falcons. It's the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show, live from the Beach House Grill here in Fort Collins. From Nelligan Sports, you're listening to the Colorado State Sports Network. One final time here from the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins, the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. Kevin McClue, rejoined by the head coach of the CSU Ram football team, Steve Fairchild, reminding you that when you join the Ram Club, you're personally taking CSU one step closer to bringing championships home to Fort Collins. Join the Ram Club, support scholarships, get the best seats, exclusive insider access, and of course, championships. Join Ram Club today by visiting CSURamClub.com. Every member, every year, makes a difference. And talking about every member making a difference, 2 of those young men that make a big difference on that defense that we just had a chance to speak to in CJ James and Nuku Latu.
Really outstanding players for us in the defensive line. I really think our defensive line is played well all year. And we've got a number of guys. We roll a bunch of guys in there, but these 2 are very, very special players. You mentioned CJ. We recruited him out of Orlando and played him right away as a true freshman. And he's a junior, but any other program he'd be a redshirt sophomore right now. But we just had a need and had to throw him in there, and just to watch him mature and grow as a person, not just as a player, but as a student and a person over the years, has been a lot of fun. And Nuku as well, just having a tremendous year and great family and just really good people, really good people.
Well, speaking of family, this week, you certainly want to have all your preparation going. You get that extra day. You had a practice day on Monday, which typically would be a day off, but giving Thursday to the families to allow students to go down and spend some time with their families.
Yeah, we've we got a lot of local kids, so we'll practice in the morning and make sure that everybody has a place to go for Thanksgiving and give them the afternoon off to go spend some time with family. Like you said, we got a good practice in Monday, and I think we're ahead of the game preparation-wise. And this time of year, you're trying to cut back. There's a fine line between wanting to get a bunch of reps against Air Force, but also staying fresh. And it's one thing when you're in early September and you're practicing with 115 guys, but now, with injuries, you're down quite a bit, and you got to watch how many reps everybody's getting. So, but anyway, we talk to the kids too. We all got a lot to be thankful for, and they got great families, and we're all fortunate to be playing this great game. So, we'll take advantage of Thursday that way.
Yeah, certainly will. And you look at these final 2 weeks, everybody wants that next win, but how special would it be to not only get a couple of wins to close out this season, springboard you into next year, but also to have those 2 rivalry trophies in your case?
Yeah, we're fortunate here to have these rivalry games, and that Ram Falcon trophy would be really, really nice to bring into the locker room Saturday. And I know we've been playing hard. I know our kids expect to win, and it should be a great game Saturday.
You had a chance to hoist that trophy, hopefully on Saturday after the game, sing that fight song. Boy, that will feel good for yourself, the coaches, and also the players. And I know for Ram fans, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Coach, we'll talk to you coming up on Saturday.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, that is the head coach of your CSU Rams, Steve Fairchild. That'll do it for us. Thanks so much to everyone at the Beach House Grill, 125 South College here at Old Town Fort Collins. College basketball comes up next. It's CSU and Manhattan from Nelligan Sports. You're listening to the Colorado State Sports Network.